Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Laying It Out. I'm your host, Scotti Dempsey.
And I'm Chelsea Pockets. And it's been a long time since we've done this.
Yes, it has been. We'll do a little Natties recap, because I was going to say it's been a long time since I last saw you, but it isn't.
It actually hasn't, in the grand scheme of life. I mean, when we were back in college, we would see each other every day, but now it's like a twice-a-year event.
Unfortunately. Hopefully it'll be more, because hopefully the pandemic will clear up more. But saw you at Natties. And of course, we did our little Natties preview episode. So now we're going to do a little Natties post-game episode, because it was fun.
So we'll get into that, I think, a little bit later. We'll talk about our favorite moments. Scotti was a reporter. I was a coach. We'll talk about things maybe we wanted to do differently after the tournament. But also, since, we just saw each other, but we haven't seen, in quotes, the audience in some time. Any life updates since our last pre-Nannies episode?
Life updates. I guess I've got a couple. Obviously, went to nationals, which has been my go-to fun fact for all things social lately. And my involvement in the D3 women's sphere has been so awesome. I got to meet and interact with all 16 teams that were at nationals. I got to get to know the captains and the coaches and the different personalities and play styles. Friday, I watched 4 games each round. So I was bouncing back and forth between 2 pools, which each had 2 games going on. So it was just kind of a Frisbee overload, but nationals was super fun. Obviously, we'll get more into that, but I got to improve on my writing skills and produce articles that I honestly wasn't entirely sure I was capable of. Because I was like, oh yeah, I totally want to go to nationals and report. And then I was like, oh, I have to report. I did that. And now I'm so much more confident in my writing now that I'm doing all the Player of the Year write-ups. So that's fun. And then on a more personal note, back in New York City, I'm going to Pickup, which is masked now because of the rise in COVID cases, which has its pros and cons. Cons, it's kind of hard to play Frisbee in a mask, but pros, it's cold out now. So it does help you just keep generally warm in addition to the other health aspects that it brings.
Yeah, not spreading COVID.
Yeah, exactly. And I got boosted, but I think we talked about that. I got boosted a while ago. And I also am doing Winter League. So I did my first game of that this past weekend, and I got to play in the snow, which I thought would be terrible. But in fact, it was very fun. So lots of Frisbee in my life at the moment.
Nice. Yeah, you're going to have to convince me on playing Ultimate in the snow, because for me, that kind of sounds horrible. I feel like, one, you would just be running really slow. It would feel like a dream. And then, I don't know, I would get cold and sad. And I don't like that. So
I think I did have ideal temperatures. I think I had ideal conditions this past weekend. I think that it could definitely be worse, but I laid out a couple times, confidently and safely and with proper form, and it didn't hurt hitting the ground because there was snow. The thing that did suck was that I had snow in my face and I was dazed and confused from that part of the whole laying out experience, but trying to live up to this podcast's name.
Yeah, no, I think 2022 New Year's resolution. One, it sounds absolutely horrible saying 2022 because I still think that it's 2020, legitimately.
Same.
And I don't know how to fix that. But laying it out for both of us, 2022 resolution is to actually lay out consistently, not just once. Because you and I have laid out before. We're just not consistent about it. And Scotti also used to scorpion in college. She would hit the ground and her legs would just come up, and everyone thought that she died for a hot sec. So
yes,
but that's one 2022 resolution. Proper layout form. I also I've properly, and I say properly, I mean full extension. My feet fully left the ground. I was in the air for a good solid second. So I've done that twice. Once was sophomore year of college. and then once was this past fall. So there was a big gap between two layouts. And I was also like, I hit the ground and I didn't hit the disc, and I wasn't like dazed and confused because I like hit my head or anything, but I was just like, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah.
I don't even care that I didn't catch it. That was really cool.
Yeah. I think the way that I've been kind of doing it is more, I don't think about it, and it's more like I kind of tip off my toes to get a little bit more extension. And then that's kind of how I'm like doing better than flopping, but I'm not like bidding. You know?
So how much are you leaving the ground? Is it like you get on your tippy toes, the tiniest little hop, and then basically falling forward?
I don't know. I don't think about it. It just kind of happens, and then I'm on the ground. So You'll have to ask someone that has watched it occur. I can phone in a friend at some point to get a clarification, but as of current recording, I don't know because I can't really watch myself and I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah. That would be ideal if you could just like, I don't know, have an out-of-body experience for on command or something, and then witness yourself doing things, and it's like, oh, that's how I did it.
Yeah, I mean, half the time I'm like not entirely convinced. I like forget that I'm like a real person that people can like perceive, and I exist as an entity in other people's lives. And then the most rattling thing about nationals was people recognizing me and being like, "Oh my god, hey, Scotti!" And I was like, "Right, I exist as an entity in your life. You know things about me because I produce a podcast, and yet here I am having like imposter syndrome."
You got recognized so much. And then I got recognized by one person, and I am jealous, I will admit. 2, I don't know if that's because maybe our podcast, we get more D3 listeners, because you were mostly on the D3, or you were basically always on the D3 women's side, and I was on the D1 women's side, unless I was watching Lehigh or like trying to find you. So I don't know if that's the case. Or also, our friend Bobo, I saw him at Nationals because his sister was playing. And he came up to me during one of the semis games, because we were all like a bunch of Lehigh people were sitting together. He's like, "Oh yeah, I saw you during this one game, and I was on the sideline, and I wanted to come up and say hi, but you looked really like serious and angry because I was doing lines the entire weekend." And when I have like a resting sad face, not resting, like a resting bitch face,
yes,
but I just like don't look happy if I'm not focused on my own facial expressions. So that could have also been part of the reason that people didn't want to approach me. I did.
Yeah, I mean, you were like, I would say we were both equally working because, like, I was working. I was actually quite busy during the games. People would try to have conversations with me, and I'd be like, unless you're talking about this game, I actually cannot maintain a conversation right now. Unless you're telling me who threw the goal and who scored it, we're not talking. But I think also I do tend to interact a lot more, and I also, like, on Twitter, and then I also, I just had more FaceTime with a broader spectrum of people. Like, I was always on the sideline with different USAU volunteers who obviously are probably pretty fanatical about Frisbee if they're going to volunteer their weekend to come out. And one of the girls that was on the sideline flew out for her team, Texas, and I got to take a picture with her and stuff, which was really fun. So shout out Caitlin. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that you flew all the way out to nationals to support. I mean, that's awesome. Like, as you should. But I mean, I think that goes to show the level of like into Frisbee that everyone that was volunteering was. So that also says a lot about, you know, the people that listen to our podcast. It kind of is like, there's a lot more overlap in the people that I very casually interacted with.
Yeah, that's true. I was basically only interacting with the teams that Penn played. And then while I was near them, we were like in the middle of a game. You don't really like chit chat with the opposing team on the sideline, especially when it's a coach and an opposing player. You just kind of like, I was just like trying to stand there and be like, hello. Who are you? Are you a good player? Do I have to put a good player on you next line? Blah, blah, blah. Like that. Like judging.
Yeah.
Them. Maybe that's also part of it because I was just judging all the other players being like, are you good? Can you throw an inside flick? Are you going to run deep? What are you going to do? Just like staring at everyone.
So before we get too derailed on our whole Nationals recap, we'll just take a pause. Pockets, give us your quick life update because I certainly have more about Nationals that I can get into.
Oh, yeah. I started a new job. That's why I wanted to do a life update thing too. I'm really excited.
That's your right.
Yeah. I was working fully remote anyway, but now this is an officially remote position. And I got the interview because of my roommate works at the same company. So now he and I just like work from home together. And I text him, I'm like, hey, how do you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And then this is like a really off topic thing, but do you know that episode of SpongeBob where you
Probably
don't
not.
watch SpongeBob? No,
I was not allowed to watch SpongeBob.
No. Okay, so
but maybe I know the meme.
For the listeners,
and listeners will probably know the episode.
Yeah, I forget the exact episode, but it's when all the plankton and all of Plankton's family come and they like kidnap Mr. Krabs. And then he like shows them the secret recipe and the secret ingredient is plankton. And they all run off. But then there's this one plankton that doesn't go anywhere. And Mr. Krabs is like, what about you? Why are you running? Or whatever. And the guy goes, oh, I can't read.
Hey, why ain't you running?
Well, I can't read.
Get out of here.
My house has just been constantly repeating that to each other.
Oh boy.
I don't like anytime I say, because I live with all men, they make fun of me for having my squeaky high pitched voice sometimes. So if ever I'm like, oh, I can't do this or something like Tesla is like 6'3", I couldn't reach something on the top. So I was like, oh, Tesla, I can't like get this. Can you get it for me? He's like, I can't read. And we just like do that at each other. So for work today, my roommate and I made like a plankton emoji in Slack.
Nice.
Now we just react to each other's messages with it.
My God.
My big life update is that I got a new job and I'm really happy to not be working at my old location. And I've only been here for a week, but it sounds like it's going to be a good fit for me. So I'm excited.
That's great. It's good to be excited about your job.
I know.
And like have a reason to get up in the morning and sit on your computer for 8 hours a day as we are wont to do these days as full-time employees.
Ooh.
But I work 10 hours a day now, though. So life is very fun for me. But I lose my mind if I'm not busy, as I think everyone is learning about me. Today, I did not have a full... I worked 9.5 hours of work.
Oh, only 9.
I was on my computer. Yeah, I did not have enough things to fill that time. So I was working on some more of my Pody write-ups. But of course, yesterday I banged out like 8 or 9. So
yeah, Scotty was
good
also
time.
telling me earlier. She's like, my free days are Sunday and Wednesday because that's not when you have The Bachelor on Monday, Frisbee Tuesday, Frisbee Thursday.
Actually, no, I'm probably going to go to Gulty on Wednesday. So my free days are Thursday and Sunday.
There we go.
Because then, Friday is sometimes date night with my new boyfriend who has been revealed on Twitter. I was like, we're hanging out. But then he was at Nationals also. And so Pockets got to meet him, which was very exciting. Because he played for Brandeis and both Brandeis's teams went. And then Brandeis Women's beat Lehigh on Universe Point. So now I am never going to hear the end of this.
Oh, no. Well, tell him I can beat him up because he's like 5'5". Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
He's 5'5".
Cool.
If you round up. Anyway, yes, now that I am dating a fellow Frisbee fanatic, FFF, I don't know. That sounds something I could trademark. That's semi-consumed my life, but I mean, Frisbee has consumed my life because then obviously Winter League is on Saturdays, and then Sundays are for me doing laundry or saying I'm going to do laundry and sitting on the couch.
That's what I do with my Sundays. I say I'm going to clean and buy groceries, and then I do it all on Monday instead. Yeah. Right. Well, that's our life update. I think we'll take a quick break, and then when we hop back in, we'll go further into our Natties talk, because that was a very fun weekend, and I think Scotty and I can talk about that forever.
Yes. So, we'll catch you after the break. Alrighty, welcome back from that quick break. We're a little light on ad reads at the moment, so if you have any ideas or want to send one in, please hit us up on DM or email us at layingitout@ultiworld.com. We do love to do ad reads, and even if you just say you want us to give you a shout out, that's all you have to do.
Or if you have an idea of some stupid thing, like Lube sent us that pirate ad like months ago.
Yeah.
Although I did an absolutely horrible pirate accent, so something within our realm of skill.
So, anyway, Pockets, Nationals, where did we leave off on our little tangent before? Or should we just start off on some random jumping point where we can then go on and on and on and on?
Well, I was going to say, we were talking a lot about how you got recognized a lot, and then how I was a grumpy-faced weirdo the entire time. But things, I know we wanted to talk about our favorite moments, and then things that we wanted to do differently if we go to Nationals again. You will definitely go to Nationals again as a reporter. But
yes.
Yeah, you want to start with your favorite moments, Miss D3 women's editor? Or not editor, reporter?
I guess it's kind of hard to, like, sum up how, like, great that weekend was in terms of just, like, moments, because as far as, like, the Frisbee I saw, there was just, like, there was a lot of good stuff. And I think that I did my best to cover as comprehensively as possible in my writing, and for everyone else to feel like they were there, or to get as much of a recap as possible as they could at Nationals. So I would probably say my favorite part of Nationals was just kind of how this group of strangers that was our reporting team kind of became so tight-knit over the course of 4 days. Like, I knew nothing about Mike and Zach and Olivia and Eddie, like a blank on his name. And the five of us went back and forth from Nationals in Eddie's car every day. And, like, we would just talk about Frisbee on the way there. We'd talk about Frisbee on the way back. And then we'd sit in our hotel rooms and talk about Frisbee and write about Frisbee. And then we'd, like, go to sleep at 11 or 12 and then wake up at, like, 7. And then, you know, rinse repeat for 4 days. And honestly, Nationals or finals day was kind of a bummer because we were, like, so excited about it, but also we were like, man, this is our last trip together. We don't know when we're gonna see each other again. So it was like, it wasn't even one of those, like, bonded through trauma type of deals, you know, where you, like, do something really intense and then you come out the other side like really best friends. I mean, it was really intense, but it was like, I was, like, crying, laughing the whole time. I, like, love my roommate Olivia. She did a lot of great coverage on D1, and, like, we just had a blast together. And yeah, everyone, I was like, I just had such a good time, and I was, like, laughing hysterically the whole time too. So it was a good time with a bunch of, like-minded Frisbee nerds. So yeah. That was my favorite part.
I got to meet Mike and Zach at the very last day during finals. I was like, Scotty, like, we were about to watch the women's final. I was like, Scotty, I want to hang out one last time before, like, Nationals is over. And she was like, oh, I'm hanging out with, like, the D3 guy reporters. Like, want to come? We can go to the bar that was at the field and then watch on the TV. I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. So I had a lot of vodka cranberries, and then was just talking to these two, like, men that I've never met before. And I was immediately like, hello, yes, Frisbee? You like Frisbee? I like Frisbee.
Yes.
And then Mike tried to, he was like, oh, like, we were talking about mixed ultimate, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to play mixed again, because as a woman with my skill set, I like hucking and I like running deep. I was like, I feel like in the mix that I've played, like, those skills aren't highlighted as much, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, I love women in mixed that can do that thing. My team wants to do exactly that. You should move to North Carolina. Live with me and my dog, and you can be on my team. I was like, I have a boyfriend. I don't know if he wants to do that. He's like, I'll get your boyfriend a job. What does he do? Like, he can live with us too. And I was like, I also have a cat. And he's like, oh, deal breaker.
That was a deal breaker. Wawa is a deal breaker.
Wawa is a mean little bitch of a cat.
Yeah. She is a mean little lady.
And then Zach was like, cats? Cats. I love cats. And then we were just showing each other pictures of our cats.
Yes.
So yeah, the Ultiworld crew, I didn't meet as many as you did, obviously, because you were, like, working with them.
Living with them, yes.
But I, like, saw, like, Steve in the wild, and he was like, oh, Pockets, hello, and then immediately gave me a hug, and I was like, oh.
Steve is a good hugger.
He's a nice hugger.
Yeah.
But it's, like, nice to meet these people that I've, like, known about, but haven't formally really been introduced to. The only other time I've seen Steve ever was almost a year ago when you and I were interviewing for this podcast spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then speaking of Wawa, she was sitting behind me on my bed, licking her butthole the entire time.
For like 30 straight minutes.
Yes, I didn't even notice. Scotty, like, texted me at some point because Steve was like, oh, I gotta go, like, real quick for a few seconds, hop off screen. Scotty texted me and I'm like, oh, damn it.
I forgot about that. That was so stupid.
Wawa, oh my god, I love my cat, but you know how people have emotional support animals? I think I am her emotional support human. She needs help. She's so strange. She, like, just gets so anxious all the time. I am considering taking her to the vet and getting her on, like, anxiety medication.
Oh, Wawa.
I know.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, meeting Ultiworld crew and doing all that was a lovely moment at Nationals.
Yeah. What would you say your peak of Nationals was?
I wrote down 3 peaks. I'll go in order of how excited I was during them. So the lowest peak was probably our Virginia game. The final score was 11-7. And I just felt really good about how Penn played. I was really happy with them, even though the score didn't represent it. I feel like we that was our second game of day 1, and we had just lost to Colorado 15-1. So being able to come back from that as a team was just like an emotional kind of highlight. It felt nice. So that was one peak. Second peak, slightly higher than the Virginia game, would be the first half of the Washington game. So Washington has Abby Hecko, who a lot of people talk about. She's very good. She didn't play the first half of the game because it was the first day. Their team is a lot better than Penn.
Yeah.
But I do genuinely think the first half of the game, Penn played very well. I was really happy with them, especially since the first day, like, we came out pretty slow. And this is day 2, and I was like, oh, wow, we're coming out really hot. And then Abby Hecko gets on the field. And it's not even just her. Like, so many other of the Washington players really good. She's just the one I know. Then it got away.
She's certainly a highlight player.
Yes.
And, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Does a lot of stuff.
But, yeah, the first half of the game I was really happy. And, like, even though we lost, like, the team was happy with the result. They felt that they played well. And then my biggest peak was just going and watching the semis and the finals with everyone. I got to sit with, like, Lehigh people during semis. I got to sit with Penn people during finals, and that was just, like, a lot of fun. Kind of getting to know the new Lehigh players that I don't know very well, reconnecting with Lubes, and then the girls that were freshmen my senior year and seeing them. And then also just getting to like know the Penn players more, because when you're coaching and it's practice or you're going to tournaments, there's not as many moments to like sit and chit chat and get to know each other. But when you're sitting and watching a game, and maybe you got there early and you brought food and you're having lunch together, or whatever, like there's so many moments where you get to like know people better. And I would say like my biggest highlight of the entire weekend was I really got to know some of the players, kind of strengthen that like coach player relationship, and just like, I don't know, get to know them. We did an icebreaker one where everyone submitted 3 random fun facts about each other, and you had to guess who it was. All the coaches were so obvious because it was like, oh, we're old. like mine was like, oh, I've been to 5 Ohio Valley regionals in a row. And it's like there were 2 people in the room that would fall into that category because of how old we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, it's just like really nice connecting with the team. That was so much fun.
Yeah. Away tournaments they do that really nicely, and especially for like a 4-day tournament like that. I think that I have so many thoughts about how much I loved like the 4-day tournament and the combination of D1 and D3. I thought that all around it was a really good deal. I mean, it's like, as much as it's a bummer that, D1 got the ESPN coverage versus like D3 got covered by just Ultiworld, like we still had the highest produced D3 finals, D3 games ever. There were like 8 cameras on those 2 games. So that's progress, I mean, there's always going to be some differences between these things, but we really did our best to cover D3 as much as we could. So that was awesome.
And I was going to say, maybe D3 finals got the better end of the deal, because how many people have said that they don't like the ESPN broadcasts? And now the Ultiworld ones are just so easy to watch. Who doesn't have YouTube?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have an HDMI cord to connect their laptop and put it on the big screen? When ESPN, I have no idea how that app works. And then wasn't the semis on ESPN3 and then the finals on ESPNU, and like people were saying
I have no idea, because I was watching them in person.
Oh my God. I was also watching them in person.
Yeah, I don't know. My bandwidth was maxed out to figure out wherever the ESPN games were. But also on the note of the D3 streamed games, guess who else made it onto the streamed games for Ultiworld? Yeah, I it was like, I mean, Mike asked me the night before about like doing the sideline interviews at halftime and finals, and I was like, hell yeah, why not? Like, that's fun. And it was. And Mags got a really good screen cap of me doing the sideline interview. My mother got a terrible one and sent it to my entire extended family.
Well, that's how mothers work. That's what mothers do.
Yes. My eyes were closed and I had a double chin, but Mags got a good one. So
there you go.
So shout out there. Yeah, looking out for me.
I was watching the D3 finals and in our Airbnb, because people didn't want to go to the field, but because people had like homework and stuff, or finals. They had finals that they were doing, but we were all just like watching it. And every time you popped up on screen, I was like, that's my best friend. That's Scotti. And they're all like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah. I like, my friends from my club team were watching it and they like added me and they were like, nice interview. And I was like, thank you.
You did a good job.
Yeah, it was fun. So really dipping a toe into sports media over here. All these random dudes from my high school that have sports podcasts wish they had what I have. Because then I also went home afterwards, and I was like, I went home to Albany, and like, nothing's really more triggering than going back to your hometown and being like, this is where my lowest lows have occurred. Although I'm sure that if I went back to Lehigh, that would also be the case.
I have more lowest lows in college than I did in high school, but that's because in high school I didn't drink or interact with anyone besides like 2 other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know like a fair number of people that I went to high school with that actually have sports podcasts, and I don't know, what they do, and I'm like, God, am I just as bad? But you know what? Frisbee is fun, funky, and fresh. So
you said sports podcast, and my immediate reaction was, ugh. And then I was like, am I judging other people for having a sports podcast when I have an ultimate Frisbee podcast, which is perhaps worse.
Yeah. You know what? We're not here to dissect that, but yeah, being on stream was a ton of fun. And
you wore
some
your
of our
plant sweatshirt.
I did, and that was mostly because everything else I had was like school branded. And I was like, this is not like any school branding, because I ended up with a Banshee hoodie because my boyfriend made me pack for him. It was a whole thing. So I ended up with a Banshee hoodie, and I was like, well, I can't wear that. And then I had like a high tide sun hoodie underneath that. And I actually did wear that for the women's game. But
I did see commented somewhere, I forget which media it was, like Discord, YouTube, whatever. They were like, nice high tide shirt. And I was like, yeah, Scotty.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to wear, but I want to look as like unbranded as possible, because of course I don't have any Ultiworld swag yet. So hopefully in the future, and hopefully I'll get to do that again, because everyone said I did a good job.
You should have what we should have done, we should have printed 8 laying it out t-shirts, one for each of us to wear every day. And then
perfect plan.
The massive lettering, and then you just wear that on stream for both games.
Maybe in May. That sounds like a plan for May. Free advertising. Because we also did give out stickers. So if you missed out on the sticker train, got some extras.
Yeah.
Happy to mail them.
DM us on Twitter. If you weren't able to DM us when we originally tweeted that out, I figured out that you have to set your DMs to like open Everyone. Or something. So try again if it didn't work originally.
Perfect. Where were we going with this whole Nationals bit?
I gave my highlights, favorite moments. Did you give all
we talked
your
about
highlights,
stream.
Favorite moments?
I did. Well, I mean, I think those will just come out. I guess I don't need to I didn't plan this. I just have so much that I wanted to say, and like it's overwhelmingly positive. I would say things that I learned that I want to do better. First of all, I would bring more clothes to night games, because thank God for Jenna, but she had an extra jacket that I could wear at the D1 semi games at UNC. It was UNC Brown and Washington Carleton. Both games were at night, and I was like, oh, it's LA, it's California. Like, I only need a hoodie. Wrong. I was freezing. So yeah, thank God Jenna saved my life there. And I had my winter coat for the finals games. So that was one big thing, is weather changes when the sun goes down, which is I need to be more prepared for. Other things, I just learned a lot about writing, and also a lot of working in a team, because I was like, oh, these need work, but then that's what editors are literally for. I was like, oh, now I can't take credit for this. Mags, you made my writing look so much better. And they were like, well, that's what editors are for. That's why someone proofreads it. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm not in college anymore. And so that's part of my New Year's resolution also, is to just be better at working in teams.
That'd be good.
And that'll also roll over to Frisbee a lot as well. And also my real job is just being able to admit when you need help with things, and being able to collaborate better and not feel like I have to do everything myself in order to take any ounce of credit. So that's kind of where I am with that.
There you go.
Things that I learned.
That's a good one. The things that I learned all relate to coaching, because that's what I was doing that entire weekend. One, I think I said this earlier, I was doing lines the entire weekend, just because the other two coaches, they're more experienced than me at coaching. They're better at kind of looking at the field, analyzing things, giving all those pep talk kind of things. So my main what I wish I did better is just I guess, well, I can't do it better. I just want to learn more and be a better coach in the future. I couldn't have really done much to be a better coach at that moment, because I've done this for a semester. So that's a little tough. But specifically, things I really want to improve on is kind of keeping that energy up on the sideline for the team. I feel like that's kind of tough. And I feel like in general, Penn is a pretty quiet team. like I was talking to them. I was like, oh, do we have like any cheers, like fun ones and stuff? And they have a few, but they're kind of lacking in that department. And then the sideline, I feel like they get so sucked into the game that they're not like screaming and yelling and cheering people on and stuff like normally we do. I did teach them one cheer, and there's a second that I taught them about. It's the boner cheer. The boner cheer.
The hard D cheer.
Yeah, where you
yes.
go, give me a B, give me an O. You spell boner. And you go, what's that spell? Hard D. Because
I love that one. It's
the
iconic.
Penn women's team is called Venus. And then some of the players think it's really fun to yell when we're in a huddle and we're like, Venus on 3. They just yell penis instead.
That's funny. That's funny.
So I was like, oh, I have a cheer for you. Here you go. This is perfect.
Yes.
And then there's another one where, like, our U-line wall is 3 players. They're very good friends. They call themselves the Dogs. And so, one, if I call a line with them, I just go, Dogs, assemble. And then, what was the cheer? If they score, if one of them scores, they do something like, they yell something about the Dogs. We didn't do this at Nationals. And then everyone responds, woo, woo, like a bark. That's all I came up with. But yeah, keeping energy up on the sideline is an important one. And then personally for me, I want to not get too frustrated with how the team is playing. They played really well, but there's always going to be like little mistakes that people make, and just like not getting too focused on that, and instead like focus on how the team is doing overall as a whole. Or if someone's having like a really good day, even if they mess up a few points, like that's not the end of the world. And just kind of like keeping energy high and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that. And like on the note of fun cheers, I think we also have no choice but to stan Middlebury for all their fun cheers and how fun they were to watch and their energy was all weekend. And like I feel like we've played I don't know if we've played Middlebury themselves when we were at Lehigh, but I know we've definitely played teams that have sang to us. I don't know if Middlebury. I don't remember if Middlebury was one of the ones that sang.
Sang at us, yeah. Haverford sings. Messiah sings. Those are the 2 I remember, and the 2 that we probably played the most when we were in college that would sing.
But I think that, I mean, it was just so fun to watch Middlebury, both their men's and women's teams all weekend. So just from a spirit perspective.
Yeah, I unfortunately didn't get to watch anything except their finals. And then when you're watching the finals, you don't actually hear the sideline.
No.
But no, they looked fun.
They were.
They're the pranksters, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Gender neutral, too. It's because like both their men's and women's teams are pranksters, which is fun.
Hey, I like
right?
that.
Isn't that nice? So, yeah. Other good things that we learned. And I mean, also just watching Frisbee was making, like, I was like itching to play. So I'm like, now, especially since now, you know, I'm an adult, so I have to play with other adults. And a lot of them have been playing, I mean, all of them have been playing for so much longer than me because curse you, pandemic. My growth and like whatever, it's completely stunted by a year and a half. So, all these people have like decades of experience on me. And I'm just like, I run around. I get nervous when I have to throw break throws around people that like actually can hold a really good mark on me. So we're much to work on now, but
yeah, no, there's a lot. Yeah, I was definitely itching to play, but I also had to remind myself. I was like, well, not everyone. I wasn't older than everyone playing on the field. There were a few.
Yeah, but I think that also helped me in terms of reporting. You know, all the teams that didn't have coaches and even all the captains, they're really happy to talk to me because they were like, oh, she's just like, she's our age. So that helped me in terms of like approaching people and really being able to tell the story of all these different teams. Cause I think there's some that I still missed. Like I don't think that I wrote about it at all, but like Occidental's coach told me that they didn't have a field to practice on. It was under construction. So they drove around LA to find fields, and they were able to like just like makeshift set up and practice, and they freaking killed it. Like
That
it showed.
sucks.
Yeah. But like that really was an awesome testament to their dedication to both like be a team and play together and then get to nationals and freaking perform. So like those types of shout outs that I was able to get that I wasn't able to write about, I think, you know, it's also still, it was just nice for me to be a part of.
You could definitely do either a separate article or like a Twitter thread and just being like, oh, moments that we didn't get to report on about nationals, like fun facts. What did you do? You did like the speed dating article idea.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. If you didn't read it, might be too late to read it, but it was an interesting concept. Where Scotti did like a little dating blurb about each team. And it was a good way to learn just about each team. It was a cute concept.
Yeah, the concept is just to like get to know the personalities and play styles of everyone. Mm-hmm. And even like it was fun because when I was talking to the Carleton Eclipse coaches on the sideline, and they were like, yeah, we read your article because, you know, we wanted to stalk how everyone was doing, and like you just did a really good job covering everyone's. And I'm like, not trying to toot my own horn here, but it was like awesome how much positive feedback that I got from it. So again, to circle back, like it was just an all around really positive and like affirming experience just being at nationals.
Yeah, no, that sounds fun. But yeah, definitely like if you have any like facts about these teams, especially since it was such a weird year. Yeah. I don't know. There's definitely something there that you could do.
Yeah.
Or we could do it for the podcast.
Heck yeah. We're kind of a college ultimate podcast. I feel like it's better if we do like young adult, like young women as our general, but like it includes college because college ultimate is like the heart. It's the heart of Frisbee, I think. I think that's kind of like where people have the most like emotions tied to it. And yes, I do also still feel like I'm 18. Sometimes I buy alcohol and I'm like, I'm not allowed to do this. And it's like, you're 24.
I still drink like I'm 18. Yeah. For random life information, I live with 3 people. We have a root season going on. Root is beer pong for people that don't know. So we like someone planned out all the games that we have in a season. So we play everyone in the house an even number of times. And then we have like additional like extra challenging games where there's something called like a hidden money cup. So there's this concept in Root where the front cup is a money cup where it's just like a full size cup that if you hit it, you specifically assign it to someone as like an extra fuck you have to drink this cup. But our alcoholic group of friends invented something called the hidden money cup, where in addition to the front cup being a full cup, there's also a hidden one somewhere within the rack where if you hit it, you assign it to someone, and then the other team has to refill one of their full cups to now be or one of their non-hit cups to be a full
one
cup.
of their remaining cups.
So we have this whole season plan where everyone plays each other an equal number of times. Some are hidden money games or whatever. And we're just like keeping track of who's winning what, who's doing well against what. But we like, this is our main social activity these days. It's just drinking.
I feel like all 4 of you could die in that house and no one would notice. Like no one would like know for a couple days because like you just like only hang out with each other.
Well, our jobs would notice, but that's
true. Yeah. And I mean, it's not like you're like going out because like COVID again, but
no, we go walk to the store. We can go walk to the beer store, which is the worst.
The beer store is going to notice you're dead because you're not buying beer. You choose to live like you're in college.
Yeah. Just that aspect. I eat better than I did.
I do too. So yeah.
Where were we going with this?
A fun aside about do I miss college? I'm going to be honest. No, I really like enjoy being an adult, and also like all my friends like have a lot better communication skills, and like they hang out with me because they like to hang out with me, not because we are the same grade in Frisbee. And then, like, I also know that people don't talk shit about each other behind their backs. Like, that just felt like a very fundamental experience in college. It's like, there was, like, way too much gossiping. So it's nice to not have that anymore.
But college ultimate, that's something I do miss. Like,
I do miss that.
Going to practice 3 times a week, having tournaments sometimes, just like having an excuse to get outside and run around and play the sport that you love. That I miss. Because now I have to
fit Frisbee into my life rather than like fitting my life around Frisbee.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's the difference. And now I have to go exercise outside of practice because I'm not just like, oh,
I don't even have practice now. Like, it's like pickup and league.
And club practice, I mean, some club practices, I guess, do it more than once. But in my experience, it's only been once a week. You got 1 3-hour practice.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Well.
Let's end on a little bit more of a positive note about how being an adult is exhausting. And do we have anything else that we want to say about how fun Nationals was? I think I do want to, like, maybe let's just acknowledge I did not get COVID at Nationals, which is, like, honestly kind of shocking. But I did get my booster exactly 2 weeks before I arrived in California. So I think, and my flu shot. So I think that helped. But it sucks, the timing, and that a lot of people got sick. And everyone on the Ultiworld staff was vaccinated. You know, there's, like, not much that you can say for what happened. There was a lot of backlash on Twitter, which was kind of a bummer to see, because for me, it was, like, honestly, the best weekend of the year.
Yeah, it was, like, a weird time where, well, I guess we could have.
It just couldn't have, like, collided any worse, the timing.
Yeah. I mean, we could have predicted because of last year that COVID was going to be just as bad because it hasn't gone away yet.
Yeah.
And it's probably never going to go away.
Yeah.
I did get sick, but I did not get COVID, or at least I don't think I did, because I tested negative 3 times.
Yeah.
But I didn't get my flu shot before going. I was boosted, but I didn't get the flu shot in time because I was like, oh, I don't want to get 2 at once and then be absolutely dead the next day. So I think I had the flu, which absolutely sucked.
That does suck. But we're healthy now and back to not going outside. But we're doing, indoor things.
In even happier news, Scotti and I are going to see each other in person again.
Yeah, yay! I'm coming to Philly next weekend, and I'm not entirely sure when this is going to come out, but we will be recording a live episode. Hopefully, maybe thinking about doing, like, an AMA type deal, and that'll be our little, like, off-season special. This was our Natties recap, and then look forward to us. I guess that's going to be our chill, maybe almost not completely Frisbee-centric episode. I mean, everything's pretty Frisbee-centric, since I'm bringing my cleats to come see you.
Oh, we're going to throw at least.
Yeah. In the snow. Yeah. So looking forward to that, and hopefully be able to generate some content for you guys, since that was actually circling back. Oh, my consultant speak is coming out. Being recognized like a celebrity, I think the best part about that means that Pockets and I achieved our goal of this podcast was to be, like, big sisters / your friends of Ultimate. And the fact that everyone that did approach us felt so comfortable doing so, I think means that we achieved our goal. Because you're our friends. You're our online friends.
Oh my god. It is, like, also, like, besides the podcast, I think I didn't get to meet Lindsay in person, but you did. And they were saying, oh, I feel like you and I are friends because I listen to you talk all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, like, easy to connect with people also when you have that common interest. Like, one of my coworkers at my new job, he plays disc golf, and he actually has, like, a sponsorship, I found out today. So we were just, like, talking about disc sports. Actually, here's a hot take. He was saying, he's like, oh, there's this like former popular Ultimate player that plays disc golf now. And my mind immediately went to like Brody Smith. And I was like, oh, yeah, the Ultimate Frisbee community doesn't really like him. And he's like, oh, not Brody Smith. Like, I think that guy's kind of a dick. And then he was talking about some other random player that I have never heard of, but apparently was really good in college. But yeah, like my coworker and I, even though it's not necessarily Ultimate, we have that, like we immediately bonded today. Also talked about cats too, but it was like, when you have that kind of interest, it's easy to talk to people.
Yeah. I've actually had that with my coworkers also, because I actually told them that I have a Frisbee podcast, and then they were like, what is it? I want to send it to my Frisbee friends. And like one of the people that I talk to all the time, she said like she's 2 degrees removed from someone that played on I want to say like the women's team out of California. Anyway, she's 2 degrees removed from someone that played at Club Nationals. So I told her about my Frisbee thing, and then she was like, I was thinking of you because like this like friend of a friend was playing in Club Nationals, so we watched it last weekend, and I was gonna like ping you and be like, hey, we're doing this, and I was like, that's great. So yeah,
that is
Frisbee's
nice.
awesome.
All right, well, I think we've gone on a long tangent.
I think so too.
Gone away from College Natties, but the general theme of College Natties was, wow, it was really nice to go to a 4-day Ultimate event and just hang out with a bunch of people that really, really, really like Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was like a very joyous occasion, and it was really nice to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with that, that's all that we have for laying it out. I've been Scotti Dempsey.
I've been Chelsea Pockets.
And we'll catch you on the flip.
Physically, if like I lost control of my brain, I think I would beat you in a fight. But I don't think I could mentally fight you.
I'm glad that's been established.